In today's video, I'm going to do a demonstration on how to fabricate and butcher a whole duck. Now, out of this whole duck, I'm going to create two things. I'm going to create duck confit from the legs, and I'm going to create a duck prosciutto using the breasts as well. This is what my station is looking like for fabrication. I've got appropriate cutting board, I've got sharp knives, I've got a variety of different inserts all ready to place my product as I take these ducks apart. I've got my soapy water, I've got my quaternary sanitizer, and I've got clean pots ready to go. So, what we've got here is a Peking style duck. These are delicious ducks. They average in size between 2 to 2.5 kilograms inside, and they are extremely versatile. There's a lot we can do. First of all, I'm going to look inside and see what we have. So what we have here is the heart, and I'm going to put that over there for stock. And what we've got is a couple of nice fat livers as well. These livers are absolutely delicious. I'm going to put them aside and I'm going to save them because one of my favorite things to make is duck liver parfait with it. And looking further inside, what we have here is the neck of the animal. I'm going to save all of this stuff here for stock. So first thing I need to do is break this duck apart. I'm going to remove the legs first. So I'm going to flip it over here, make a little incision in here, open it up, pop the knuckle out of the back, and cut along to remove one leg. I'm now going to remove the other leg. It's very careful. You need to be very careful. It's very important you don't cut into the breast. And you want to just cut along here, taking all of the meat off very nicely like that. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do is take off the wings. And the wings are attached just like here as well. They are going to go into my stock collection. Alright, duck wings, there really isn't a lot of meat on them, and the meats can be quite tough. So I always just put it into my stock. Alright, now once the wings are off, it's going to be much easier to remove the breasts. So you can see ducks, by just virtue of their nature, this is a little gland. We don't want that. I'm going to just discard that. You can see they're very fatty animals. I'm going to trim some of the fats like this. Now, duck fat, in my opinion, is one of the most delicious things we can incorporate in our cooking. And what I'm going to do is render all the fat, because in order to do proper confit, we are going to need quite a bit of duck fat. Now it's time to remove the breasts off of the breastbone. There's a keel bone that runs along the center here. I'm going to take my knife, run it right along the keel bone, down along the wishbone, and then it's just a simple matter of removing the breast off of the breastbone. Now you want to really take your time. Do this very carefully. You want to make sure you don't damage the meat, and you really want to ensure that you're getting a good healthy yield at the end of the day. That's a good looking breast. Same procedure for the other side. Along the keel bone, down along the wishbone, and then it's just a simple matter of literally peeling this breast nice and cleanly off, just like that. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to get as much fat off of this as possible, because going back to our confit, we will need rendered duck fat for that cooking process. With the bones, I'm going to be making a stock as well, and stocks do not like a lot of fat in them, obviously. Fats cloud and distort stocks, and don't give it a very desirable eating quality. So this is win-win by removing the fat right now. The legs I'm going to be preparing in a classic confit style. The term confit means to cook in one's own fat. And what I'm going to do is trim these legs up and prepare them for the confit process. So I'm going to just trim off the excess fat, like so. It's all going to go to our render pot. Now for confit to be best enjoyed, I'm going to remove some of the bones. I am going to take out the thigh bone right here, cut along both sides of it, fish underneath it, scrape it down, look for the knuckle, thigh bone goes off the stalk. Now we have a thighless leg. I'll repeat this one as well. Cut along both sides of the bone. Remove the thigh bone nice and cleanly. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is take the knuckle, or French this bone here. Nice and clean like that, and then I'm just going to pull back the meat just a little bit like that. So what we have now is a semi-boneless leg. Thigh bone is out, it's been Frenched, and when it cooks, it's going to cook into a gorgeous little area. Now with the fat over here, so rendered duck fat, just a simple matter of putting this on a low flame and slowly letting the fat melt out of that. So I'm going to go do that now. Basically, the legs are salt cured overnight and then slowly simmered in their own rendered fat until they're nice and tender. Now, before refrigeration, the meat would be stored in its own fat in an earthenware pot in a cool, dark root cellar, for instance, or a place where there wasn't a lot of heat. So this is the technique we're going to use for our confit. I'm going to take our semi-boneless legs and place them in this bowl over here, and then what I want to do is season them with salt. So what I have here is a nice coarse kosher salt, alright? And I want to liberally season them. There we go. Then for aromatics, I've got some whole black peppercorns. A little bit of star anise. Star anise has a wonderful anise licorice flavor that is very, very complementary to duck. Some bay leaves, these are fresh. What I'm going to do is just tear them up a little bit, releases more of their flavor. And then I've got some fresh rosemary, and I'm going to strip it from the branches, just like so. Rosemary and duck have a wonderful compatibility with each other, and very, very fragrant and delicious accompaniment with the confit. Then just want to mix everything together. So I've got my salt, which is the curing agent, and all my lovely aromatics. Then I'm going to place it on a perforated insert. It's going to stay on the insert like this overnight in the refrigerator. I'm going to take all my lovely aromatics, add it back to it, because we're doing a dry marinade using these aromatics. And then what I've got here is a food grade J cloth that I am just going to place over top to stop it from drying out. And then it's going to... So here is our duck fat. It's rendered out. You can see the lovely, unctuous, delicious, golden duck fat that we've got here. Simply delicious little cracklings. Do yourself a favor, save these cracklings. Lightly salt them, have them on some buttered toast as a decadent little snack, or use them as little lardon garnishes in a salad, especially a salad with bitter greens like frisée. Absolutely extraordinary. You can see the temperature is being kept low to render the fat. If the temperature is too high, you can burn the fat, thus rendering it useless. Okay, so now it is time to cook our duck confit. Here is the rendered duck fat. What I like to do is pass it through a conical fat filter that's inside of a chinois that just ensures that I get perfectly clean fat every time. So just a simple matter of straining it through the fat filter, just like so, making sure that I get everything into the pan. And look at that gorgeous golden rendered duck fat. Absolutely perfect. Now, over here are my duck legs that have cured overnight in the fridge. You can see what's happened. They've sweated a little bit. That's normal as the moisture is being drawn and extracted out of it. The texture has firmed up a little bit, and what I want to do is just pat these dry. Knock off some of the aromatics. Alright, and then I'm going to submerge them gently into our rendered fat. Perfect. Now I'm going to add some of my aromatics back to the oil, back to the duck fat, the rendered duck fat, because it's going to season and bring a tremendous amount of flavor to the duck during the cooking process. Then it's just a simple matter of covering this. I am now going to place this into a 250 degree Fahrenheit oven for approximately 2 hours, or until the meat is tender. Here is our duck legs that have come out of the oven. This is absolute textbook. You want to make sure that they have been cooked at a low temperature. 250 Fahrenheit is absolutely perfect, because you want the duck to cook and be tender. You can see how tender this is, but you do not want to color the actual duck itself. So traditional way of confiting was you cook it in the duck fat like this, and then put it into a sterile container. So this container has gone through the dishwasher and has a chance to cool. Alright, and then with clean sterile tongs, basically putting those on top. And then what you do is pour your hot fat, and I like keeping all the aromatics in there, because it just continues to give a lot of extra flavor. Pour this over top. Now it's imperative that the duck legs are completely submerged in the fat. You're going to chill this quickly now and keep it in the fridge. I personally like to keep this chilled and in the fridge for 4 to 6 weeks before I serve it. Because it's stored in a cold, non-aerobic environment without the presence of oxygen, it lasts a long time. And what happens is the flavor develops and the enzymes continue to break down and make the meat even more tender, and it's absolutely delicious. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to remove 2, like so. And I am going to put them on this flash pan, lined with parchment. And then I am going to put them into a 425 degree oven to crisp them up. Alright, so the roasted duck leg confit is now out of the oven. You can see what the final roasting does. It crisps up the skin really, really nicely. The meat is extremely tender, got a wonderful flavor. So the plate I'm doing here is just a little appetizer. I've got a little celeriac, apple, and cucumber salad. And then I have made a blueberry gastrique over here. Basically caramelized sugar, sherry vinegar, and a little bit of port, and mix that all together. A little bit of bright color there. Simple little duck leg like that. And there you go, have a wonderful appetizer, something nice, light, absolutely delicious, ready to go. Duck leg